Hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Today I'm going to make Shrewsbury cakes, or Shrewsbury cakes depending on how you care to pronounce the name of the town in Shropshire where these biscuits in actual fact come from. They're also known as Shropshire cakes because they come from the county of Shropshire, and they're a nice round biscuit, rather large, 5 inches in diameter, or just about 12 to 13 centimetres, and they have a pattern on them of lines making diamond shapes. And these biscuits, according to a Taste of the Past website, which is where I found this recipe when I originally made it on my blog 5 or 6 years ago, used to be used, the biscuits were used to accompany an alcoholic punch, and the pattern on them was used so that the lines enabled the biscuits to be broken into pieces and dipped into the punch. Anyway, they're flavoured with rose water. When I made them before, I forgot the rose water, so I used some diluted orange extract, which worked quite well, but today I'm using rose water, so I'd be interested to see how they taste. I've started off by preheating my oven to 180 Celsius, that's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit, and I've prepared a couple of sheets of baking paper to go on baking trays. So I'll go on to the ingredients, and this is very simple. I have 450 grams, which is 3 cups based on scooping packed flour into a 250 millilitre cup of plain flour. I have 225 grams, 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of caster sugar, 227 grams, which is 1 cup of unsalted butter. I have 1 medium egg, large in the USA, 5 millilitres, 1 teaspoon of rose water, and I'm adding about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, though the original recipe doesn't specify that at all. I'm going to do that, mix this in my processor bowl of my immersion blender. You could put all the ingredients except for the egg and the rose water into a bowl and rub the butter into it between your fingers. I'm going to do it in this processor bowl because it's quicker, but because of the volume I'm going to do it in 2 stages. So I'll do about half of it and then the other half, and then put both of them into a bowl. So I'll simply take half the flour and half the sugar, and then I'll put the salt in as well at this stage, and about half of the butter. Don't have to be exact because we're going to mix the two together later. And I'll process this until it's a fine breadcrumb-like texture. And then I'll do the same with the second half as well. So that's the second half mixed, and that can go in with the first half, like that. And the eagle eye amongst you will notice that I've switched to a larger bowl. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my rose water into my egg, and I'm going to break the egg up, and then I'm going to pour that into the flour mixture, and I'm simply going to stir it around with a knife, just a normal table knife, and get it into a dough basically. And then I'll get my hand in and I'm going to squeeze that and that's just about good like that. So I'm going to tip that out. So I'm going to tip it onto one of my pieces of parchment paper. And with that pulled together, it's still going to crack a little bit, but it's perfectly fine. I need to divide that into 16 equal pieces, and that will work out at about 59 grams each. So I've divided the dough into the 16 pieces, and now I need to take each piece and pat it down into a disc or a circle of about 5 inches, and for reference that is about that size. And that's almost the right size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just press around the edges to make it into more of a circle. Just like that. And then I'm going to take a comb. You could use the back of a knife. Now I have to stress this comb has never been used on anybody's hair, and I'm going to press down like that to make a pattern. And then I'm going to do the same at an angle to form some diamonds. Like that. And then I'm simply going to take a skewer and I'm going to poke a hole into each diamond. Like that. And I'll do the same with the remainder, and because I'm only going to use 2 baking trays, I'll do 8 to start with. So there's 8 that I've done, and they're ready to bake. So I'm going to bake those off first, and I'm going to bake them for between 10 and 15 minutes, and they should bake up quite nicely and begin to colour a little around the edges. Then I'll take them out of the oven, leave them for 2 minutes, then I'll transfer them to a wire rack to cool as I bake off the others. And when I've got them baked, I'll come back and show you the results. So I baked my Shrewsbury cakes for 15 minutes. I looked at them after 10 minutes and I didn't think they'd coloured enough, so I left them for another 5 minutes. And they baked up quite nicely. And I only actually baked the 8. I've put the remaining dough in the fridge. I'll bake those tomorrow. But they baked up nicely. They look quite good. So this is what they look like. And as you can see from this one, I've been nibbling away at it. But I thought I'd show you that pattern allows you to break it off and then dip it in your tea or in your alcoholic punch. I should have mentioned this is a recipe which originates back in the 17th century. So I'll have a taste of this. It's very, very good. Nice and crunchy and buttery, but you get that rosewater flavour coming through. I have to say that as they were baking, my flat was filled with the aroma or the scent of roses, almost as though I was sitting in Henrietta's garden down in Devon, enjoying a cup of tea or something. So, very good indeed. Now, if you think that the rosewater might be too strong for you, you could flavour these biscuits with some almond extract or some orange extract or even some Sicilian lemon extract, something like that. But very good. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below and click to subscribe to my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, and that will take you to a link for the recipe, and I'll put a link below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.